So the NBA is in shambles. I don't mean because of the stuff that I've talked about for the last few days. I know that I've been speaking a lot about the decline of the NBA, but up until now, and of course I've spoke a lot about that, the downfall, what is happening, and apart from obviously being a concerned fan who just wants the game to grow, doesn't want to see the decline of basketball, and that being a huge talking point in the league, the decline that's been happening recently. Apart from that, I also wanted to speak on, what happened recently in NBA media. I haven't really been covering the league since about 5 days, 6 days ago, because I've been more focused on the All Star game, the lapses, all the stories, all the videos of that. But now I'm coming back to cover the NBA again. So the most recent news that happened with the league was obviously these JJ Redick comments. If you guys didn't see, JJ Redick just went on a rant. Well, not necessarily a rant, but it was more of a screaming moment where it seems like he got out of control. And it seems like he's kind of, very stressed or infuriated by something, because JJ was just going crazy. He was obviously not actually, going insane on live TV, but with him getting all these opportunities in the league due to the way that he breaks down basketball, his ability, his knowledge, and especially the commitment that he has to the game, it was very surprising the other day when JJ Redick just lashed out on Doc Rivers about his consistency in losing and how he blames it on other people. Now, with this being said, there are a few cases where it has gotten to the point where people have seen these things, right, of Doc Rivers, these lapses where his team loses, he blames everybody but himself. And yes, Doc Rivers does look bad. But with that being said, and if we're being 1,000% honest, like, he's a coach and he needs a job. Like, going, and if he says, I should have coached better, I should have, like, no, coaches don't do that. And it's gotten the league talking. It's very out of character for JJ to say something like that and to go out and slander your old coach, be able to do all of that and still come up and say that the reason why the media covered that was because of controversy, and that they don't care if he breaks down a clip of Zion Williamson and how he's been used as a primary ball handler. And it's like, I understand what he's saying. It's true, most people don't know really what basketball is, what it looks like. And most fans don't have the time to be watching every game to be really informed about what's going on. And especially when you just look at a box score, right? You could really see that it's very difficult to watch 82 games per team, 30 teams, it's a lot of games and it's a lot of different occasions where you could see people, and the way that and in my opinion, all of this just goes to show how the media and influence can change, people. I do want to say JJ is an extremely tame person. He doesn't normally do stuff like this. And especially now that we've seen him lash out this way, I don't think that it's valid the reason why he's saying. It's true. Doc Rivers does consistently do this. But lashing out at your coach or at your old coach just because he can't put accountability on anybody else, it's like the greatest coaches of all time do that. No, I don't think I've ever heard a coach say, hey, that was my fault. I should have coached better. And it's like, because coaches are paid to trust their own opinions, they're paid to trust their own plays. For a coach, it is very tad and very important to have coaches which will be able to give you the game plan and be able to make sure that your team wins, even with all of the factors considered. I do believe that coaches have gotten too comfortable in terms of the fact that it's like some coaches will never change, and it seems like some coaches will not really study the game of basketball before starting to coach. Like the And in my opinion, all of this just goes to show that there's a divide in the league when it comes to media and, the games. Obviously, right now we're getting some time off. It's not very fun to go without the league. People have to make stories. People have to go, and like Allen Iverson, the biggest news right now is that Allen Iverson said that he would average 43 points in today's league, which, apart from being false, it's probably got some truth to it, because if in the lowest scoring era of all time he scored 30, he could probably score at least 35 in this generation. But getting back to the point, if we're being 1,000% honest, most people right now in the league are just looking for things to latch onto, and I believe that this JJ Redick clip is just the next thing. If we're being 1,000% honest, it doesn't matter that much when it comes to the fact that even if JJ actually believes that, and even if that is the case for Doc Rivers, you cannot blame him. He is who he is, and in my opinion, I know that that's a bad thing, but Doc Rivers doesn't strike me as a guy who really cares about greatness. The real reason why we judge somebody is based on your goals. So if you don't care about how well you're doing in something, if you do bad in that thing, you can't really be judged for that thing, because you're not trying to be the best that you can be. That's why when a guy is a perfectionist like Kobe and he wins 5 rings, you have to put some respect on it. When a guy works as hard as LeBron or Jordan and they go and they do it, they win the rings, they win the MVPs, they get the GOAT status, you respect it. But for the guys who talk about the GOAT mentality and are sitting in the end of a bench or are starters which can never make their teams win, we criticize them. It's obvious that Doc Rivers just wanted a job. He was out of a job and nobody was going to give it to him. But then the Bucks fell into that situation perfectly. It's obvious that in this moment, Doc is just wanting to win. He cares about the team winning, but he doesn't care about the greatness of it. He doesn't care like a Giannis cares about the greatness of the Bucks. He cares about coaching the team. So when the Bucks are having this bad stretch and Doc is out here blaming people, he's doing what he's supposed to do, right? Like JJ in that clip looked furious. The veins were coming out of his neck. He was screaming. And in my opinion, when a guy that's so tamed and as composed like that says something with that level of anger, it is either something that has been built up through a long period of time, or it's something that he really means and maybe hadn't thought about it well enough to be able to put his thoughts together cohesively. In the end, I do believe that JJ Redick should have not outlashed in that way. I don't think he's in the wrong, honestly, if we're being 1,000% right. If we're being 1,000% honest, I'm sorry. Because he is a person who chokes. He is a person who always has had some issues with being the guy. But it's obvious that Doc Rivers is a good person. He cares about the game. He's obviously a great coach, as a lot of people don't say bad things about him. A lot of people like him. And it's obvious that the guy just, right now in his career, made some mistakes. And in my opinion, we shouldn't be putting the blame on him because even though, yes, he does have some bad luck in the playoffs, and even though he has had some bad experiences, like lashing out on him because he blamed this team is something that every coach does. And I feel like it's unfair to just point the finger at Doc because of, you know, just because you were probably mad that day or because you were thinking about it.